Can you imagine stumbling upon a $60 million haul deep beneath the ocean's surface? What about discovering ancient Egyptian tombstones or a 13,000-year-old human skull? Prepare to be astounded as we delve into the mysterious and terrifying world of deep-sea discoveries. From unimaginable treasures to ancient artifacts, these underwater wonders will leave you questioning what else lies hidden beneath the waves. Let's go. Number 1. Ghost Fleet of Chuuk Lagoon. First up, we're diving into the Chuuk Lagoon, where you'll find an underwater museum like no other. This beautiful Pacific paradise, cloaked in beauty, harbors a secret. It's the final resting place for a fleet of Japanese ships from World War II, a ghostly armada frozen in time. If a diver hadn't captured this, you'd swear it was the stuff of maritime myths. Let's rewind to 1944, in the thick of global turmoil. The Pacific was a chessboard of strategic moves and countermoves. The Japanese Empire, with its naval base nestled in Chuuk Lagoon, was a titan of the Pacific, its waters filled with mighty warships and merchant vessels. But the tides of war were turning, and that's where Operation Hailstone came in, the Allies' masterstroke. Over 3 relentless days, American forces unleashed their fury from the decks of aircraft carriers, raining destruction on the unsuspecting fleet below. The results were shocking. 12 warships and 32 merchant ships were sent to a watery grave, along with 275 aircraft, transforming Chuuk Lagoon into the world's largest ship cemetery. For years, this watery grave lay forgotten, its secrets shrouded in the deep. That is until Jacques Cousteau, the ocean's own storyteller, decided it was time to peel back the layers of this submerged secret in 1969. With his crew and cameras in tow, Cousteau brought the ghost fleet of Chuuk Lagoon to the world's attention, unveiling the haunting beauty of this aquatic necropolis. Their footage revealed a world suspended in time, where war machines lay enveloped by coral and fish, a haunting juxtaposition of nature and human conflict. Today, Chuuk Lagoon is a diver's dream, a place where history and adventure intertwine. Just a stone's throw from the surface, you can glide over sunken hulls, peer into the ghostly interiors of cargo holds, and even encounter the I-169 Shinohara, the infamous submarine with a hand in the Pearl Harbor attack. It's a surreal experience swimming through these sentinels of the deep. Who knew the most breathtaking museum on Earth doesn't have walls, queues, or souvenir shops? Instead, it's hidden beneath the Pacific, where the only ticket you need is a sense of adventure and maybe a scuba tank. Just be sure to mind the fish. They're not big on trespassers. Number 2. SS City of Cairo. Next, we're moving from the Pacific to the South Atlantic Ocean, where a search team discovered the long-lost wreckage of the SS City of Cairo. This was a once majestic vessel that glided across the oceans like a queen of the seas. Built in 1915, she was a behemoth, stretching nearly 450 feet in length, designed to ferry passengers in style and comfort. By World War II, she swapped passengers for precious cargo, hauling supplies crucial to the UK's war effort. In 1942, during a voyage from Cape Town, South Africa, the SS City of Cairo's story took a dramatic turn. A lurking German U-boat sent a torpedo her way, sealing her fate and sending her plunging into the Atlantic's abyss. The tragedy was profound, with only 207 of the 311 souls on board surviving the ordeal, the rest succumbing to the sea or the wait for rescue. But the SS City of Cairo was more than just a passenger liner. She was a floating treasure chest, carrying 2,000 boxes brimming with silver coins, along with military gear and supplies. This made her the stuff of legend, a siren call for treasure hunters who dreamt of her riches lost in the ocean's depths. Talk about a jackpot at the bottom of the ocean. For decades, the SS City of Cairo became a ghost story, a whispered tale of lost wealth resting far beyond reach. That is, until 2011, when a team of deep-sea explorers dropped a bombshell. They'd found the ship, and not just found it, but cracked open its treasure trove, lifting a whopping $46 million worth of silver coins from its belly. By the time they went public in 2015, They were well on their way to hauling up an estimated $60 million haul, setting records for the most bountiful deep-sea treasure hunt in history. But here's the thing. No human diver could even get close to the SS City of Cairo. It was lounging too deep, nearly 17,000 feet down, where the sun's rays don't dare to tread. For reference, that's even deeper than the wreck of the Titanic. Here's where the unsung heroes of this saga come in. The robotic submersibles, the real MVPs that braved the pressures to bring the treasure back to the surface. Turns out, in the world of shipwrecks and sunken treasures, it's not just about finding the gold. It's about the journey to the depths and back, and the story that's truly priceless. Do you believe there are more undiscovered treasures like the SS City of Cairo's waiting at the bottom of the ocean? Let us know in the comments. Number 3. The Underwater Sculpture Park. Sneak a peek under the waves in Grenada and you're in for a surprise. The ocean's got its own version of an art gallery, with sculptures just hanging out on the seabed. Welcome to the Grenada Underwater Sculpture Park, a place where sculptures and sea life mingle in an eerie, beautiful dance. Created by the visionary British sculptor Jason de Caires Taylor in 2006, this underwater marvel was the world's first of its kind, turning the seafloor into a canvas for environmental storytelling. This isn't just any dive site, it's a hauntingly beautiful realm where over 75 sculptures rest amidst natural rock formations and sand patches, creating a surreal landscape. These sculptures, cast from eco-friendly materials, aren't just for show. They serve a higher purpose, providing new habitats for marine life and drawing divers away from the more vulnerable natural reefs. Among the ghostly figures, Vicissitudes stands out. It's a haunting circle of life-sized children, holding hands and facing the open sea, symbolizing unity and resilience. To some, it's a touching reminder of the area's dark history with slavery. Then there's the Lost Correspondent, a figure frozen in time, surrounded by fading news articles, a nod to the rapidly changing ways we communicate and remember our past. Jason de Caires Taylor once said, "The ocean is the most incredible exhibition space an artist could ever wish for." And indeed, the Grenada Underwater Sculpture Park is proof of that. It's a place where art meets conservation, where each sculpture, encrusted with coral and teeming with fish, tells a story of transformation and hope. So if you're ever in Grenada, take the plunge and visit this underwater wonder. It's a vivid reminder that beauty and purpose can thrive even in the most unexpected places. Number 4. Submerged Cargo Container. Think you've seen it all underwater? Wait until you see this cargo container lounging like a lost treasure among coral and fish. Discovered by scientists during a routine survey, this 40-foot-long container, a vibrant yellow in the otherwise blue expanse, turned from lost to found, sparking curiosity and concern in equal measure. Now, how did this hefty piece of human handiwork end up here? Theories abound. Was it a stormy tantrum that sent it overboard, or did it take a deliberate dive in a cloak and dagger operation? The possibilities are as deep and wide as the ocean itself. Now you're thinking, it's just a container. What's the big deal? But the plot thickens. This metal beast has become an unexpected underwater condo, hosting a merry band of sea snails, octopuses, and crabs. It's like the ocean version of Airbnb, where Neptunia snails drop by to lay eggs, only to find out there's a no-refund policy courtesy of lurking predators. What's more, an estimated 10,000 containers take the plunge annually, dotting the ocean floor like breadcrumbs on a Hansel and Gretel trail, potentially creating highways of trash. So the question is, are we unintentionally creating underwater metropolises? And what happens if these submerged, boxy behemoths start connecting dots between ecosystems, ushering in unwelcome guests to new neighborhoods? While this container, reportedly packed with radial tires, might seem benign, it's a reminder of the unseen impacts our surface world can have on the deep blue. After all, it's not just ships that carry tales across the waves. Sometimes, it's what they leave behind. And who knows, maybe the ocean floor is just one big lost and found, waiting for some determined divers to unravel its mysteries. Just don't forget to close the lid when you're done snooping. Number 5. deep in the Baltic Sea. In the Baltic's mysterious waters, where daylight fears to tread, lies a discovery that could make even the most seasoned explorers' heads spin. Here's where a band of aquatic adventurers made a jaw-dropping discovery like no other. In 2011, this team of underwater sleuths, led by Peter Lindbergh and Dennis Asberg, found themselves face-to-face with an anomaly that would baffle even the most imaginative minds. Their sonar imaging software picked up a mysterious object resting on the ocean floor, unlike anything they had ever seen before. It looked so peculiar, so out of place, it could easily pass for a prop on a sci-fi movie set. Some say it's got a striking resemblance to the Millennium Falcon, and let's be honest, who wouldn't want to stumble upon Han Solo's iconic ride during a dive? But this is no movie, and the plot only thickens from here. As the divers approached, their world turned into a tech-fueled twilight zone. Instruments went haywire, compasses spun like they'd had one too many, and all electronic eyes turned blind. It was as if the object had cast an invisible shield around itself, a no-tech zone, if you will, only relenting once the team retreated some 200 meters back. Cue the eerie music and speculative whispers. What is this mysterious Baltic anomaly? Alien spacecraft, a secret Soviet relic, or perhaps Mother Nature's own version of a practical joke? The theories are as wild as they come, fueling a firestorm of speculation across the web. The Ocean X team, the brave souls behind this discovery, found themselves at the center of a storm of curiosity, with each hypothesis more outlandish than the last. As for the truth, well, it remains as elusive as the creature of the deep. This enigmatic sphere has captured imaginations far and wide, becoming a modern-day maritime myth. And while theories abound, from extraterrestrial visitors to forgotten relics of the deep, the Baltic Sea keeps her secrets well. Number 6. Neapolis. Off the coast of Nabiul, in the northeast cradle of Tunisia, lies a site that would have even Neptune doing a double-take. We're talking about Neapolis, an ancient Roman city that took the plunge into the abyss around 1,700 years ago, thanks to a particularly bad day in Mother Nature's office, a massive tsunami. Now you might be thinking, an entire city underwater, pull the other one. But this is no fisherman's tale. Neapolis was once a bustling port, thriving on the high stakes of garum production. That's fish sauce to you and me, a Roman ketchup that was all the rage back in the day. Fast forward to 2017, and a team of underwater archaeologists, playing the part of aquatic detectives, hit the jackpot. They uncovered streets, monuments, and not just one, but around 100 tanks for brewing that legendary garum, painting a picture of a city lost in time, but not forgotten. The discovery of Neapolis is like unearthing an Atlantis of the Roman era, a submerged metropolis testament to the power of nature and the resilience of history. It was a find so monumental it had historians and archaeologists around the globe tipping their hats to the Mediterranean for keeping such a secret so well preserved. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Theories abound about this underwater marvel. Was Neapolis submerged as a divine act of retribution, the sea gods exacting revenge for some ancient slight? Or was it simply in the wrong place at the wrong tsunami-prone time? The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in between, but that doesn't stop the imagination from wandering into the realms of legend and myth. Thanks to the tireless efforts of the Tunisian National Heritage Institute and the University of Sassari in Italy, the story of Neapolis has been brought to the surface, offering a fascinating glimpse into a world where city life and ocean currents met in an unexpected embrace. It's a tale of human endeavor, architectural marvels, and the unforgiving force of nature, all rolled into one incredible underwater cityscape. Number 7. Frilled Sharks. Ever think your bathtub's deep end was scary? How about bumping into a frilled shark, nature's own sea monster, in the real deep end? This slithery customer, looking like it swam straight out of a Jurassic Park sequel, has been lurking in the ocean's shadows for a staggering 80 million years. That's right, this living fossil has been doing its thing since the dinosaurs were throwing their weight around. Imagine for a moment you're floating in the inky depths when suddenly, out of the gloom, emerges a creature with a face only a mother could love. With its slender, eel-like body and a mouth that could double as a prop in a horror movie, the frilled shark isn't winning any beauty contests. But don't let its appearance fool you. This ancient swimmer is a marvel of evolution. Fishermen and divers, on the rare occasions they encounter this deep-sea oddity, can't believe their eyes. One Australian fisherman, upon hauling one aboard, swore he'd encountered a freakish-looking sea monster and made a mental note to avoid catching one ever again. And who could blame him? With over 300 needle-like teeth arranged in 25 neat rows, the frilled shark's smile is stuff nightmares are made of. But the frilled shark isn't just about its toothy grin. This creature is a throwback to a time when the ocean was a far more mysterious place. Its closest relatives are long extinct, making the frilled shark a unique window into the past. Its serpentine swimming style and primitive body structure give us clues about the ancient seas it once dominated. What's truly fascinating is how elusive these creatures are. They dwell in the ocean's depths, between several hundred and several thousand feet, where human presence is fleeting at best. Rare footage captured by researchers shows the frilled shark in its natural habitat, moving with a grace that belies its fearsome appearance. It's a reminder of how much remains unknown in the vast, uncharted territories of our planet's oceans. In a world obsessed with the latest and the newest, the frilled shark swims on unfazed, a relic of a world long gone. It's like nature's way of saying, "I've seen trends come and go, but classics never go out of style." Number 8. Apollo 11 engines. It's 1969, and the world is glued to their TV screens, watching as Apollo 11 makes its historic journey to the moon. Propelling humanity's first envoys to another celestial body were 5 monstrous F-1 rocket engines, the muscle behind the mighty Saturn V. These engineering marvels, burning through fuel at a staggering rate, were the titans that thrust the spacecraft into the cosmos, leaving behind a trail of fire and awe. But after their short-lived glory, they tumbled back to Earth, plunging into the depths of the ocean, their Herculean efforts fading into the abyss along with them. Fast forward to over 4 decades later, and along comes Jeff Bezos, not content with merely revolutionizing online shopping, deciding to plunge into the ocean's depths in search of these forgotten giants. In a tale that blurs the lines between past conquests and future explorations, Bezos and his team embarked on a deep-sea quest that sounds more like a plot from a Jules Verne novel. Diving 14,000 feet below the surface, off the coast of Florida, they weren't just looking for any old shipwreck. They were after the engines that once catapulted humans to the moon. And guess what? They found them. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. These engines, relics of human ingenuity, had transformed into an underwater sculpture garden, their twisted metal forms telling a silent story of fiery ends and violent impacts. Now, you might think, surely these engines, after such a dramatic re-entry and years under the sea, would be mere shadows of their former selves. But no. Despite the corrosive embrace of salt water and the passage of time, the engines, or rather pieces of them, were remarkably well preserved. Enough so that Bezos and his team could piece together not 1 but 2 F-1 engines from the recovered components. But here's where things get tricky. The original serial numbers, the key to unlocking the engine's exact origins, were either missing or partially obscured. Are they the very engines that sent Armstrong and Aldrin on their historic journey? The jury's still out, but the evidence is compelling, a tantalizing link to that one small step for man. Today, as we stand on the brink of new space discoveries, let's take a moment to marvel at these relics of the first giant leap, now ready to inspire future generations from their museum pedestals. Number 9. Lake Michigan's Stonehenge. Beneath the cool, fresh waters of Lake Michigan, you might expect to find fish, shipwrecks, maybe even a lost GoPro or two. But a Stonehenge? Now that's a tale that sounds like it was brewed up over a campfire by someone with a bit too much imagination. Yet beneath the waves of America's third-largest lake lies a mystery as intriguing as its Atlantic cousin, a series of ancient stone structures eerily reminiscent of the famed Stonehenge. This underwater marvel, affectionately dubbed Lake Michigan's Stonehenge, was stumbled upon quite by accident. Researchers, in pursuit of sunken ships, instead found themselves face to face with a formation that's anything but natural. It's a discovery that would make Indiana Jones reach for his scuba gear. Now, you might be wondering, how did a Stonehenge end up at the bottom of a Great Lake? Theories abound, from ancient civilizations with a penchant for lakefront property to glacier movements doing a bit of redecorating. Whatever the case, these submerged stones aren't just sitting pretty. They're arranged in circles and line patterns that scream intentional, louder than a conspiracy theorist at a UFO convention. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Among these stones, researchers found one with a carving that resembles a mastodon, an elephant-like creature that hasn't been around for over 10,000 years. So, not only do we have a Stonehenge situation, but we've also got potential proof of prehistoric art class. The discovery of Lake Michigan's Stonehenge is more than just an underwater curiosity. It's a submerged handshake with history, a nod from the past that our ancestors were up to fascinating feats long before we gave them credit for. It's a reminder that sometimes the most incredible stories aren't found in the pages of a book, but beneath the surface of our very own backyards, or in this case, waterways. Number 10. The Giant Pyrosome. Ever thought the ocean had its own version of a sci-fi convention? Meet the Giant Pyrosome, the sea's own glow-in-the-dark, living lava lamp that could make an alien feel homesick. The Giant Pyrosome is like the ocean's version of a party bus. It's a colonial organism made up of thousands of tiny clones called zooids, all hitching a ride together in a gelatinous, tube-shaped structure that can grow up to an astonishing 60 feet long. That's right, folks. This isn't your average sea cucumber. It's more like a sea skyscraper if the skyscraper was made of jelly and had the nightlife of Times Square. Now you might be wondering, why haven't I heard of this oceanic wonder before? Well, the Giant Pyrosome is the ultimate hide-and-seek champion. It dwells in the deep sea, usually hanging out in the pelagic zone, far from the prying eyes of humans and their pesky cameras. But when it does decide to grace the shallower waters with its presence, it turns the dive into an underwater light show you'd expect from a cosmic discotheque. These creatures are bioluminescent, which in layman's terms means they can glow in the dark. And not just a faint glow like your old glow-in-the-dark stickers. We're talking about a radiant light show that can illuminate the surrounding waters, turning a night dive into an ethereal experience that would leave even the Little Mermaid in awe. Here's another surprising fact. Despite its grandeur and the light spectacle it offers, the Giant Pyrosome is actually quite harmless. It feeds on microscopic plankton, filtering these tiny snacks from the water. So, while it might look like it's straight out of a deep-sea horror movie, it's more of a gentle giant, peacefully cruising the ocean currents. The discovery of these magnificent creatures is a reminder that our planet is still full of wonders waiting to be explored. It's evidence of the wild, weird, and absolutely wonderful oddities that Mother Nature has up her sleeve. Next time you're underwater, who knows? You might just find yourself in the middle of the ocean's own version of a rave, courtesy of the most unlikely party animal. Just remember, in the deep blue sea, it's not the size of the boat, but the light of the pyrosome that truly makes the party. Number 11. World War II. Silver. This is the story of a treasure trove that sounds like it's straight out of a Hollywood script, but with a historical twist that's all too real. It was in the depths of the Atlantic, just off the coast of Ireland, where the SS Gersapa met her watery end in 1941, courtesy of a German U-boat's torpedo. This wasn't just any ship. She was a British cargo steamer, a vital cog in the war machine, laden with a payload that would make even the most seasoned treasure hunter's heart skip a beat. Over 1,200 kilograms of pure silver bullion, insured for a sum that today equates to a jaw-dropping 150 million pounds. Fast forward to March 2013, and enter the scene. Odyssey Marine Exploration. Not your average treasure hunters, but a team with a flair for the dramatic and the technical chops to back it up. They embarked on what would become the deepest Atlantic salvage operation ever recorded by then, plunging 1 mile deeper than the Titanic to reclaim the Gersapa's long-lost silver from the abyss. Using cutting-edge sonar, remote vehicles, and an almost mythical 5,800 meters of cable, The crew grappled with silver bars scattered across the ocean floor like stars in the night sky. Over 1,200 bars were hauled up, a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of history's lost treasures. But the YearOld's story isn't just about the silver. The loss of the ship contributed to the UK being driven off the gold standard, a significant blow during tumultuous times. Yet, the families of the 86 men lost at sea found some solace in the discovery as a material connection to their loved ones' final journey. But this story isn't just about the silver. It's about the 86 souls lost at sea and the closure their families sought for years. It's about the echo of history that reverberates through these ingots, a tangible link to a tumultuous time when the fate of nations hung in the balance. As for the silver, its recovery wasn't just a blessing for historians and economists. It sparked the imagination of the public and scholars alike. What secrets did the YearOld take to her grave? What stories could the salvaged silver tell if it could speak? The recovery operation brought these questions to the forefront, shedding light on a chapter of World War II that might have remained in the shadows, because sometimes the truth really is stranger and more fascinating than fiction. Number 12. Egyptian Tombstones. These divers were snorkeling off the coast of Alexandria, Egypt, bobbing along with the waves when they stumbled upon something utterly breathtaking: a series of ancient Egyptian tombstones nestled on the ocean floor. This isn't a scene from an Indiana Jones movie, folks, but a very real discovery made in the submerged ruins of Heraklion, also known as Thonis, a city that had been playing a centuries-long game of hide-and-seek with archaeologists until its rediscovery in 2000. Heraklion, once a bustling metropolis and a beacon of trade in the ancient world, now lies eerily silent beneath the waves. The discovery of these tombstones and a trove of other underwater artifacts offers us a VIP pass to Egypt's glamorous yet tumultuous past. Picture it: a city that was the New York of its time, a place where cultures converged and goods from every corner of the Mediterranean exchanged hands. That is until a series of unfortunate events, think tsunamis, earthquakes, and your garden variety geological phenomena, decided it was time for Heraklion to take a long, involuntary bath. What makes this underwater cemetery so fascinating isn't just its location, though let's be honest, underwater tombstones does have a certain ring to it, but the stories these tombstones whisper from the depths. Adorned with inscriptions and carvings, they date back to the 2nd century BC, serving as a stone tapestry of tales from a city that played a pivotal role in ancient Egyptian civilization. The tombstones are like the city's final postcards, sent from a time when Heraklion was a thriving hub, only to be silenced and swallowed by the sea. It's as if Poseidon himself decided to add a new exhibit to his underwater museum, perfectly preserving these relics in a briny time capsule. Number 13. 13,000-year-old human skull. Just when you think you've seen it all, along comes a discovery that turns the tide. Hidden inside an underwater cave in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, a diver came across a 13,000-year-old human skull belonging to a teenage girl dubbed Naya after the Greek Naiads, the water nymphs of lore. Now, finding ancient relics in caves isn't unheard of, but finding the almost complete skeletal remains of a Paleo-American teenager, that's like hitting the archaeological jackpot while looking for lost goggles. Naya's resting place, the Hoyo Negro, a pit so deep and dark it might as well be a portal to another time, offered a rare, undisturbed glimpse into the Ice Age. What's truly fascinating isn't just Naya's age, but what her bones tell us. The thing is, Naya isn't just any ancient set of remains. She's the Rosetta Stone of human migration to the Americas, providing evidence that the first settlers of the new continent were more adventurous, or perhaps more lost, than we ever imagined. Her discovery lends credence to the theory that the earliest Americans might have followed a coastal route from Siberia, island hopping across the Bering Strait, long before the invention of the wheel, let alone the compass. What's truly fascinating about Naya, apart from her age, and the fact that she'd probably be the coolest kid in history class, is what her existence implies about the peopling of the Americas. With her DNA, scientists have been able to draw a direct line from the ancient Paleo-Americans to modern Native American populations, bridging a gap in our understanding that was as wide as the continents themselves. But here's a shocker. Naya's resting place, now a submerged cave, was once a dry, accessible pit. This means that when Naya took her unfortunate tumble to the bottom of Hoyo Negro, sea levels were much lower, the world was a colder place, and mammoths probably roamed not too far away. It's like opening a window straight into the Pleistocene, except the window is underwater, and instead of opening it, you have to swim through it with scuba gear. So next time you're out snorkeling or just dipping your toes in the water, remember that history isn't just found in dusty old books but might be lurking beneath the next wave. Just imagine explaining that one at show and tell. This summer, I met a 13,000-year-old girl. Number 14. Cuvier's beaked whale. The Cuvier's beaked whale is a deep-diving enigma that could teach Houdini a thing or two about disappearing acts. This isn't your average ocean dweller. This whale holds the record for the deepest and longest dives among mammals, plunging to jaw-dropping depths over 9,800 feet and holding its breath for more than 2 hours. That's like diving to the bottom of 33 football fields stacked on top of each other, all while holding your breath during an entire movie. What's more, these whales are so camera-shy, they make reclusive celebrities look like attention seekers. Spotting a Cuvier's beaked whale in its natural habitat is about as rare as finding a needle in a haystack the size of Texas. They spend so much time in the abyssal depths that researchers know more about some planets than these mysterious mammals. What's even more intriguing is their appearance. With a body that looks like it was designed by a committee and a beak resembling a dolphin's, the Cuvier's beaked whale breaks all stereotypes. Their bodies are so uniquely adapted to deep diving that they've got special blood and muscles just for the occasion. Talk about being built for the job. Now, imagine the excitement when divers actually capture footage of this elusive creature. It's like snagging a selfie with Bigfoot or catching the Loch Ness monster doing the backstroke. For marine biologists, it's the underwater equivalent of winning the lottery while being struck by lightning at the same time. But it's not just their elusive nature that's fascinating. These whales are like the marathon runners of the sea, with a stamina that puts most athletes to shame. They dive deep, not for the thrill, but to munch on some of the ocean's most elusive snacks, making their dining habits as mysterious as their social lives. So why do you think Cuvier's beaked whales have evolved to make such extreme dives? Share your thoughts. Number 15. Underwater crop circles. Dip into the sea near Japan, and you might think underwater aliens are into landscaping. These crop circles under the sea are nature's way of keeping us guessing, turning the ocean floor into a cosmic art gallery. First spotted off the coast of Amami Oshima Island in Japan during the mid-1990s. These geometric masterpieces, spanning 6 to nearly 13 feet across, have baffled and dazzled divers and scientists alike. Spreading over time to waters off Europe and Israel, the circles seemed too perfect, too deliberate to be a mere quirk of nature. Cue the wild theories, from underwater aliens to secret military projects. The internet had a field day. But hold your seahorses. The real artists behind these sandy symphonies are none other than the unassuming male pufferfish, barely 7 inches long. These tiny architects of the deep spend up to 10 days engaged in an aquatic ballet, meticulously flapping their fins to carve valleys and ridges into the seafloor, creating a mandala-like nest that would make even the most skilled Zen gardeners jealous. Why all this effort, you ask? Love, of course. These elaborate nests serve as the pufferfish's version of a swanky bachelor pad, aimed to woo and win over the ladies. A male painstakingly arranges shells and coral fragments around the nest's rim, like a florist adding the final touches to a bouquet. The female pufferfish, ever the discerning lover, inspects these underwater crop circles, and if impressed, will hover over the nest to lay her eggs, which the male then fertilizes. But there's more to these circles than just underwater real estate. The nest's symmetry and intricate design are believed to optimize water flow, ensuring the eggs receive ample oxygen. It's a feat of biological engineering that showcases the pufferfish's knack for both aesthetics and environmental science. So the next time you hear tales of mysterious formations in the depths of the ocean, remember that the most extraordinary artists might just be swimming beneath the waves, armed with nothing but their fins and a flair for the dramatic. It seems in the game of love and art, size truly doesn't matter, at least not for the pufferfish, the ocean's unsung Picasso. Number 16. Animals chained up. Off the shores of Kauai, divers turned heroes when they stumbled upon a mom and baby dugong duo trapped in an underwater cage, turning a regular dive into an unexpected rescue mission in the deep blue. The mother, a majestic creature meant to roam the vastness of the ocean, was cruelly chained, her movements restricted, her freedom just a distant memory. The baby, innocent and unaware, was confined, separated from the comfort of its mother's side. These sea cows, known for their peaceful nature, were trapped in a living nightmare, all for the profit of a local fisherman. He had turned these sentient beings into a tourist attraction, exploiting their misery for a few coins. The divers, shocked and moved by the plight of these beautiful creatures, knew they couldn't just leave them to their fate. They confronted the fisherman, urging him to release the dugongs back into the wild where they belonged. Reluctantly, he agreed, but the divers were skeptical. Their instincts were right. The next day, despite promises made, the dugongs were still prisoners of the deep. Thanks to the divers' quick thinking and their use of social media to spread the word, wildlife authorities were alerted. They swooped in like heroes of the high seas, ensuring the fishermen's compliance. Finally, the chains were removed, the cages opened, and the mother and baby dugong were free once again. Number 17. Polynesian moai statues. What if I told you that the silent guardians of Easter Island took a dive? This footage unveils the breathtaking sight of Polynesian moai statues. These towering figures, renowned residents of Easter Island, are shrouded in mystery, their origins and purposes the subjects of heated debates among historians and archaeologists alike. But imagine, if you will, the sheer awe of encountering these monolithic sculptures, not against a backdrop of rolling island hills, but in the silent blue embrace of the ocean. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui as it's traditionally known, is a speck in the vast Pacific, famous for its enigmatic moai statues. Carved by the Rapa Nui people, these monoliths have perplexed and fascinated for centuries. With their brooding expressions and towering presence, they are emblematic of a culture that thrived in isolation. Yet, not all of these stone giants reside on land. Some have found their way beneath the sea, adding another layer of mystique to their already enigmatic existence. You might wonder, how did these statues, each weighing several tons and standing up to 33 feet tall, find their way to the ocean's depths? Some suggest natural disasters such as tsunamis could have swept them out to sea. Others speculate there might have been ceremonial reasons for their aquatic placement, or perhaps they were simply the result of an overambitious transport gone awry. The true reason remains as submerged as the statues themselves. Divers who have encountered these submerged moai describe the experience as nothing short of surreal. There, in the tranquility of the deep, these ancient figures stand as if guarding the secrets of a bygone era. Algae and coral have claimed them as part of the sea, creating a fusion of stone and marine life that is both eerie and beautiful. It's a humbling reminder of nature's capacity to reclaim even our most enduring monuments. The underwater moai also serve as silent witnesses to the environmental changes and challenges faced by our oceans. They remind us that the sea, much like the land, is filled with histories waiting to be told, mysteries aching to be solved, and lessons eager to be learned. Number 18. Christ of the Abyss. There you are, floating in the Mediterranean's calm, listening to the sea's secrets, when boom, you're face to face with a bronze Jesus, arms wide open like he's about to give the best underwater hug. This isn't make-believe. It's the Christ of the Abyss, a statue that's been making diverse hearts skip a beat worldwide. Nestled in the azure embrace of the Mediterranean, off the coast of San Frutuoso in Italy, the Christ of the Abyss stands as a submerged sentinel, a spiritual guardian of the deep. Plunged into the sea in 1954 as a tribute to Dario Gonzatti, the first Italian to use scuba gear, who tragically lost his life in these waters. This ethereal figure has since become a beacon for divers and a symbol of peace beneath the waves. Crafted with exquisite detail by Guido Galletti, this bronze behemoth isn't just a statue. It's a shrine where the ocean's perpetual serenade plays homage to human endeavor and spiritual reflection. At approximately 8 feet tall and anchored in the sandy seabed, this submerged Christ gazes upwards towards the light dancing on the water's surface as if in eternal prayer for those who explore the ocean's mysteries. Diving down to meet this underwater deity, you can't help but feel a stirring sense of wonder. Here, where the boundaries between the divine and the terrestrial blur, the Christ of the Abyss reminds us of the ocean's majesty and mystery. With arms outstretched, as if to embrace the entirety of the marine kingdom, this figure serves as a poignant reminder of humanity's deep, enduring connection with the sea. Beyond its spiritual allure, the Christ of the Abyss has become a symbol of the underwater world's fragility. Encrusted with coral and caressed by schools of curious fish, it reminds us that this underwater realm, with all its beauty and biodiversity, is a treasure that demands our respect and protection. Each diver who visits leaves with not just memories of an ethereal encounter, but also a renewed commitment to ocean conservation. After all, down here, every bubble tells a story, and even a submerged Christ might just wink at you if the light hits just right. Number 19. Thistlegorm Shipwreck. Diving into the heart of the Red Sea reveals a spectacle that's not just a dive site, but a living museum, steeped in the echoes of World War II history, the Thistlegorm Shipwreck. This British armed merchant navy ship met its watery grave not in battle, but anchored in the silent embrace of the Red Sea, turned into a surreal underwater archive by the very cargo it carried. Imagine the eerie silence as you descend through the blue, the weight of history palpable in the water around you. As the outline of the Thistlegorm emerges from the deep, you're not just a diver, you're a time traveler, stepping into a frozen moment from 1941. The ship, a 413-foot Leviathan, now rests as a guardian of its own past, its cargo a testament to the wartime era it sailed in. As you navigate through the ghostly vessel, you encounter trucks, motorbikes, aircraft parts, and even boots. Each item a chapter in a story of courage and calamity. The motorcycles, still upright in the hold as if waiting for their riders, and trucks lined up on the deck, their tires now hosting an array of sea life, speak of a time when the world was at war and every shipment could turn the tide of battle. The Thistlegorm story is one of unexpected interruption. Intended for the British forces in North Africa, its journey was cut short by the stealth of a German bomber. The depth charges, intended as a defense, only sealed its fate, sending the ship and its vital cargo to the bottom of the sea. It's a poignant reminder of the thin line between routine and catastrophe in times of war. The allure of the Thistlegorm lies not just in its size or the abundance of its cargo, but in the snapshot it offers of a bygone era. Each dive reveals more, be it the personal items of the sailors or the military gear meant for unseen battles. The shipwreck doesn't just hold goods, it holds stories waiting in the silent water to be told. What makes Thistlegorm truly remarkable is its accessibility. Unlike many historical relics, it's not tucked away in a museum or buried under layers of earth. It lies beneath the waves, open to those daring enough to explore its depths. It's a dive into history, where every swim through its holds brings you face to face with the past. Number 20. The Black Pharaoh's Tomb. Ever heard whispers of ancient African kings beneath the Nile's surface? This dive reveals the submerged realm of the Nubian Black Pharaohs, a powerful dynasty whose stories are etched not in stone, but in the waters of northern Sudan. This powerful dynasty, ruling from 760 BCE, once presided over ancient Egypt's sands, yet their tales barely whisper through the annals of time, victims of historical oversight, perhaps shaped by prejudice. But beneath the Nile's flow in northern Sudan, a submerged world awaits, eager to sing the praises of these African monarchs. Imagine the moment when modern archaeologists, brushing aside centuries of sediment, unveiled the grandeur of an 18th dynasty temple. dwarfed only by the colossal Karnak, in the heart of what was once the vibrant Nubian capital, Napata. Its sandstone walls, etched with the regal profiles of Pharaoh Thutmose III and Amenhotep III, stand as testaments to a time when Nubian and Egyptian gods mingled in reverence. But the waters of Lake Nasser, rising stealthily behind the Aswan Dam, claimed many such treasures, leaving them to slumber beneath the waves. Among these submerged secrets was a striking black granite effigy of Pharaoh Taharqa, his visage emerging from the deep, a silent guardian of his people's legacy. Yet the Nile had more stories to yield. Near the modern town of Karima, explorers found themselves tracing submerged steps into the gloom, their path leading to an extraordinary discovery, the funerary temple of Pharaoh Espelta. As they ventured deeper, the flicker of their torches danced off walls adorned in gold, hinting at splendors yet to be fully revealed. This underwater realm, where history and mystery intertwine, serves as a vivid reminder that the legacy of the Black Pharaohs, though once submerged beneath both water and bias, refuses to be forgotten. Even the deepest waters cannot drown the truth. Number 21. Vampire Squid. Deep in the ocean's twilight zone lurks a creature straight out of a Gothic tale. Enter the vampire squid, a name that might send shivers down your spine, but hold the garlic and steaks. This denizen of the deep is far from the bloodthirsty beast its name suggests. In fact, the vampire squid, with its cloak-like webbing and ruby-red eyes, is more of a gentle drifter than a predator of the night. Now, you might wonder, how did such a creature earn a name fit for a creature of the night? It's all in the appearance. With its 8 arms wrapped in a web of skin, it resembles a vampire's cape, especially when it turns inside out as a defensive trick to scare off would-be attackers. And those eyes, glowing an eerie red in the light of a submersible, only add to its Gothic mystique. But here's where the plot thickens. The vampire squid is a misfit, an enigma of evolution. It dwells in the oxygen minimum zone, up to 3,000 feet deep, where few dare to venture, and even fewer can survive. This cephalopod doesn't hunt. It collects marine snow, detritus, and dead matter that drifts down from the ocean's upper layers using sticky filaments. It's a peaceful scavenger in a place where life must snatch whatever nourishment it can from the abyss. The first time a diver captured footage of this elusive creature, the world was awestruck. There it was, a living relic from ancient times, its biology a throwback to its ancestors, with characteristics that defy easy classification. It's not quite a squid, not quite an octopus, but something in between, a unique lineage that has puzzled scientists since its discovery. Number 22. Pirate Shipwreck. In the shadowy depths near the Colombian coast lies a relic of swashbuckling lore and sunken treasure, the likes of which would make even Blackbeard do a double-take. The shipwreck in question? None other than the ill-fated San Jose, a Spanish galleon that met a watery grave in 1708, a casualty of the high sea's most perilous era, the age of piracy and imperial conquests. Imagine, if you will, a vessel brimming with the New World's riches, gold, silver, and emeralds, enough to make a king's ransom. And indeed, it was all destined for King Philip V of Spain's coffers. Yet the San Jose's voyage was cut tragically short in a ferocious clash with British warships, an explosive finale that sent the galleon and its treasures plummeting into the abyss, along with nearly 600 souls. Fast forward to 2015, when modern-day treasure hunters, armed not with maps marked by an X, but with state-of-the-art undersea exploration tech and a thirst for history, uncovered this watery tomb. This wasn't your average find. It was akin to hitting the jackpot in the underwater lottery of archaeology. The San Jose's discovery was a monumental event, capturing the imaginations of historians, archaeologists, and governments alike. But here's where the plot thickens. The San Jose isn't just a ship. It's a vessel heavy with historical implications and a cargo hold full of legal and ethical debates. Who does the galleon belong to? Colombia, where it was found? Spain, under whose flag it sailed? Or does it belong to history itself? The discovery of the San Jose opened a veritable Pandora's box of questions concerning underwater cultural heritage, ownership rights, and the preservation of our submerged historical narratives. Yet, Amid these contentious waters, the San Jose serves as a stark reminder of the human element, often lost in tales of treasure and piracy. Each coin, each emerald aboard that ship, tells not just a story of wealth, but of the lives intertwined with its journey. The artisans who mined those gems, the sailors who perished at sea, and the families who never saw their loved ones return. Number 23. Bermuda Triangle underwater. The Bermuda Triangle's got a rep for vanishing acts, but dive beneath its waves, and you'll find the real magic show. This infamous stretch of the Atlantic, bounded by Bermuda, Miami, and Puerto Rico, has long been the center of maritime myths and legends, primarily due to the puzzling disappearances of ships and planes. Yet, the surface tales barely scratch the depths of the mysteries lurking underwater. Dive with me if you dare, into the abyss where the ocean's secrets are as deep as its trenches. Here, the seafloor is a patchwork of vast underwater plains, sudden dramatic drop-offs, and submerged mountain ranges that rival the majesty of their terrestrial counterparts. This undersea landscape forms a treasure trove of unsolved mysteries, each nook and cranny potentially holding the key to centuries-old enigmas. Among the most captivating puzzles is the presence of underwater methane hydrates. These gas deposits, trapped within an icy embrace, are theorized to be capable of releasing massive bubbles that could engulf ships in a watery grave. This chilling theory adds a new dimension to the triangle's lore, suggesting that the ocean itself might possess the power to swallow those who dare to traverse its surface. Yet, despite the compelling nature of this hypothesis, it remains just that, a theory, unproven and shrouded in the depths of speculation. Deeper still lies the Puerto Rico Trench, the Atlantic's darkest secret. As the deepest part of the ocean in this region, it's a realm so unexplored that it might as well be another planet. Its extreme depths and the mysteries it holds are a siren call to scientists and explorers alike, offering the promise of discoveries that could rewrite our understanding of the oceanic world. The intrigue of the Bermuda Triangle doesn't end at the surface. It deepens underwater, where the remnants of lost vessels may rest, silent testimonies to the mysteries above. Each wreck, each geological anomaly, and each unexplored trench contributes another chapter to the Bermuda Triangle's enigmatic narrative. Number 24. Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, there lies an enigma that defies conventional understanding and stretches the imagination to its limits. It's a place where the boundary between nature and ancient craftsmanship blurs, creating a submerged wonder that has perplexed and fascinated in equal measure. This is the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater structure that was stumbled upon by a diver in 1986, forever changing the narrative of prehistoric architecture. Imagine, if you will, diving into the clear waters, expecting the usual underwater spectacle of coral and fish, only to be greeted by the colossal, enigmatic faces of what appear to be meticulously carved step pyramids, right angles, and terraces. It's as if you've been transported to an aquatic Machu Picchu, with each stone telling a story lost to the waves. The debate around Yonaguni swings like a pendulum between natural geological formation and the remnants of a lost civilization's handiwork. Some scientists and archaeologists argue that the monument is the work of natural processes sculpted by millennia of currents and tectonic movements. Yet, this explanation doesn't sit well with everyone. The precision of the angles, the seemingly deliberate arrangement of the structures, and the carved, road-like formations beckon the question: could this really be the work of Mother Nature alone? The plot thickens when you consider the dating of the monument. Some estimates place its construction around 10,000 BC, a time when, according to mainstream archaeology, humanity was barely past the hunter-gatherer stage, let alone capable of such architectural feats. This timing throws a wrench into our understanding of human history, suggesting that there might have been advanced civilizations long before we ever imagined. Diving around Yonaguni, you can't help but be drawn into its mystery. The turtle, a rock formation resembling a turtle's back, and the stage, an area that looks strikingly like an amphitheater, are just a couple of features that fuel the fire of intrigue. Each dive reveals more questions than answers, making Yonaguni a true underwater puzzle. Critics and skeptics abound, with many attributing the monument's allure to pareidolia, the human tendency to see patterns and familiar shapes in random objects. Yet, for every naysayer, there's a believer, convinced that Yonaguni is a portal to a forgotten epic, a tangible link to our mysterious ancestors who may have roamed the earth when mammoths were still a common sight. Number 25. Esmeralda. The turquoise waters off the coast of Al Halania Island in Oman were found to have a treasure that had lain hidden for over 500 years. This wasn't just any shipwreck. This was the Esmeralda, a vital cog in Vasco da Gama's legendary fleet during his second voyage to India, which met its watery grave in 1503. The discovery, made in 2016, was a dive back in time to the dawn of the age of exploration. Commanded by Vicente Sodré, Vasco da Gama's uncle, the Esmeralda was a symbol of Portugal's ambitious maritime explorations, aiming to carve out a sea route to the riches of India. But fate had other plans. A violent storm sealed the ship's fate, and with it, a trove of historical treasures was lost to the sea, along with many lives. The ship's resting place became a time capsule, preserving a slice of history on the ocean floor. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the rediscovery of the Esmeralda opened a window into the early 1500s, offering an unprecedented glimpse into the era that reshaped the world. The artifacts brought to the surface tell a story of human endeavor, technological innovation, and the early days of globalization. Among the recovered items were copper alloy disc astrolabes, used for navigating the high seas, ship's bells that once echoed across the waves, gold coins that jingled in the pockets of explorers, and an array of weaponry that spoke of turbulent times. These relics serve as a tangible link to an age when the world was becoming interconnected. The Esmeralda's cargo, a mix of East and West, illustrates the cultural and material exchanges that were taking place. Spices that would season European dishes, textiles that would clothe the elite, and precious metals that symbolized wealth and power all traveled aboard vessels like the Esmeralda, weaving a web of global trade routes. The significance of the Esmeralda's discovery extends beyond its historical and archaeological value. It reminds us of the human stories behind these voyages, of ambition, of discovery, and of the perilous nature of the sea. It's a narrative of how the quest for knowledge and wealth propelled humanity into uncharted waters, both literally and metaphorically. Thanks for watching another episode. Click the next video on your screen for more.